Now, we're at the entertainment section. Yay! Our first performance of the evening is brought to you by a multi-talented young woman who always had a passion for community work. With over 10 years of experience working with parents and youth in low-income communities, she continues to derive new and innovative ways to attract young people and encourage them to fulfill their dreams. She's also a spoken word artist and invited by the former, she was also invited by the former Governor General of Canada to perform poetry at her closing youth ceremonies. In addition to talent and a passion for advocacy, she's an aspiring playwright. Her plays focus on real issues that are affecting our young people and community at large, while giving the audience some comic relief. She now works at Pinecrest Queensway Community Health Centre as a student parent support worker at Pathways to Education. But above all, she is a mother of 3 beautiful girls, aged 8, 5, and 1.5, and that is what she is most proud of. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Habiba Ali, also known as Hawa Haji, and her famous tagline, "It's not easy."
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Habiba Ali. Some of you know me, some of you do not. But today I come to you with a message of hope. I want to tell you a few things about myself that I'm really proud of. I'm a proud mother, daughter, sister, friend, colleague, artist. Did you notice that all of those things had titles? But you and I are more than the titles that represent us. We are more than, and we can acquire much more in life, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, like our brother Bashir was saying. I don't want to mislead you into thinking that all the speakers, panelists, MCs, artists, were chosen to speak to all of you because we're better than you in some form. We're here to inspire a message of hope and that titles can be attained. But education and the thirst for knowledge is a self-driven process. You will learn as much or as little as you want, but that's all up to you. Remember that through all the education that you acquire, no one can ever take that away from you. It's yours to keep. Education is limitless, ageless, and can only be sought by your own will. As humans, we all have ups and downs. We all struggle with something, we all lack something, and we all have something. But if you lack something, yeah, I'm actually very fluent in Somali. I don't know why some of you are laughing, but I didn't just learn that quote. And I'm very proud of that, actually. It's one of the things that I'm very proud of. I came to Canada at a very young age. For those of you who know me, don't expose me. Sometimes I act like an old lady. But I learned Somali, and it's one of the things that you need to do is learn who you are. They always say, it's cliche, you don't know where you're going unless you know where you came from. Thank you. So, we're all going to go through obstacles, but together we can overcome those obstacles. And if there's one thing that I've come to know in all of my life, it's that we are resilient. We are creatures of adaptation. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, and subhanallah, right? If there's one thing I want you to take away from today's event, is that we are more than what and how the media portrays us. The media only covers the bad. It's very likely that NBC, CTV, ABC are going to be rushing through those doors to cover what's going on today. And what's going on today was amazing stuff, but that's never depicted in the media. I will put forth it's up to us to put forth another message that's louder and stronger than what they say defines us. We all have potential, we are all capable in one form or another, and even our disabled, our mentally ill, have the stories of struggles and triumphs that we can all benefit from. So, what are you going to do? What am I going to do? What are we going to do? So what that means, literally, when you're somewhere, be present, be vigilant, be a contributing member to it, or be absent. It's very harsh, Somali proverbs, but they're Somali ben way shekta lakin ben kuma mahmahado. Whichever human being, that's basically what it's saying. But we're fortunate enough to live in this great nation. It's our home. It's our native land. Look in the national anthem. It says our home and native land. So it doesn't belong to anybody but the natives. So don't feel that you're outcast for some reason or another, that you're not meant to be here. This is your home, just like everyone else. So continue to be the amazing contributing members of society that we already are. Don't let anything else define you, because you already are contributing. You already are amazing. Mashallah. Without further ado, the reason why I brought me here. I didn't say that. Usually I don't say anything and then people just think I'm a walking act, you know? There's more to me than that. So, I've been a playwright now for only like 4 years, but my whole life, my dad cut the cable when we were really young. There's 10 of us. So you can imagine what needs to happen in that house, something. So I used to make all my brothers and sisters act stuff out. I would write skits and say, you're a doctor. You're the shaqiyat, you know? Like, it's just like titles, you know? But what I'm proud in terms of using my art, because Somali, we have a tradition, we're called the Nation of Poets. We're an artistic culture. From Okuke to, the great so everybody has a talent that they need to share, and sometimes messages are more, sometimes can be conveyed through art. That's just how it is, and some people will actually appreciate it, and some will not, and I'm sorry if some of the stuff is distasteful, but I will try to be appropriate, as Faiza has told us. Professionalism is very important, because I don't want to be unprofessional, I don't want to in a in the future. So whoever it is, at this time, from this point on, when I'm acting, I'm just an actor. I'm not, accountable to any of the things I say or do. It's only an act. Marka, without further ado, how many of you remember the song, The Boy Is Mine? Just leave out the room, it's okay. How many of you remember the song, The Boy Is Mine? Yeah, there, more hands. But what I want to tell you is we did a parody to that. That's Hawa Haji and Filfila. For those of you who don't know Hawa Haji, she's a very active Somali woman in her early 50s. Well, she doesn't know her real age, she's not a birth certificate. You guys know what's up. It's real. And in Laye, because we don't know her age, we'll just say 50. She could be a little bit more, a little bit less. Actually, Hawa Haji and both Filfil are very talented women. They went to elementary school, they went to university, and University of Wilford actually in Somalia, for those of you who know Wilford. Wake up the hand, but they had to start from scratch here and learn English again, and it's not easy. Every day they're hustling. Without further ado, I'd like to call upon Filfila, and then we're going to begin our scene. And we're doing a parody to The Boy Is Mine. It's basically Brandy and Monica, they're fighting over a guy. But this song is called The Education Is Mine. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. When is this bus going to come? I don't understand. It's going to be here 7:15, it's 7:16. 1 minute late. My goodness. Ooh. It was over. I mean, I chat at 5:15. I should have just woke up a little bit later. I mean, I chat at 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I don't know why my doctor told me to do the jogging. I'm so tired, I've been out here for 5 minutes. Oh my goodness. What's going on over here? Is that? No, it's not Hawa Haji. Now Hawa Haji, what are you doing over here?
Filfila! Yes. How are you? Well, I who know everything about. How are you?
I am fine, Hawa. The question is, why are you standing out here 7 in the morning waiting for the bus?
Well, honey, you know what I have to do. It's not easy being Hawahachi. Every day I'm hustling. I'm going to the school. I'm going to the school. That's what I'm doing.
Oh my, how many times did I tell you how? How many times do we have to have this conversation? What did I tell you? We are women. We are 50 plus women. Nobody has time for us to be going to school. You have children and a husband.
Oh my goodness.
You need to make pasta and biris for them every day. And you're trying to go to full-time school? How? No. I will not accept this.
What is your problem with me, really? I am just trying to get an education. We went to Ottawa. We have to start from the beginning. You know we were both level 6 ESL holders. So, I'm just trying to further this education, so don't hate on me, please. I ask you one question. Don't hate on me, please. I think it's time we got this straight. About my educational fate. You seem to think I can't pursue all of the things I want to do.
Listen to me, Hawa. See, I know that you may be just a bit crazy, Hawahachi. Because you're blind, if you can't see, you'll never get the PhD.
See, I tried to hesitate. I didn't want to bring up all this hate. But I guess what they say is true. Crushing dreams is all you do.
Who are these people who say this?
Everybody, you know who everybody is. Everybody who says something when they say something.
How, listen. I think that you misunderstood. Girl, look around, we in the hood.
So what?
No. You don't understand how. I said, look around, we're in the hood. Nobody has time for this.
I'm sorry that you seem to be confused. I want to study because I choose to.
Well, I hear all of that, but I still think you're whack. Girl, this education is taking you off track.
If it bothers you,
It does bother me.
please don't pay me no mind. I am telling you, this education is mine. Really, you need to stop with all your shenanigans. I'm out here, it's not easy. Every day I'm hustling. What's it to you what I go and what I do? What is it to you? Listen, really, you're not yours, but mine. Not yours, but mine.
How? This is not the X Factor, okay? Listen, you saw the struggle Dr. Mohammed Haji went through to become the doctor he is today.
Now you're talking about my husband.
Yes, listen, you have to hear the hard stuff, how?
Hey, go ahead.
When he was in Somalia, he was in school all those years, and then he comes to Canada, and what do they do to him? They tell him, no, you're not a doctor. The school he went to, excuse me? He had to start all over again. And now you're telling me, Miss Basta Baris, you want to go to school?
I'm more than that, first of all.
No. All you have to do is stay home, relax, take care of your children. They're the next, you just have to sit down, please. You're making me tired, Wallah.
Must you do the things you do to keep judging me and be cruel? I think you have insecurities that you need to deal with besides me.
I think that you should realize and try to understand why people don't know what to make of you and what career can you pursue.
You can say what you wanna say, but I will finish this one day. Fulfill and mark my words, you will see a PhD saying Hawahachi.
Listen,
Hey, I'm listening.
out of all the things I'm telling you, this is the most important.
What?
Okay?
What?
When will you get the picture? You'll fall asleep in the lectures.
What did you say about me?
I said, you heard me, I will say it again. When will you get the picture? You'll fall asleep in the lectures. This is not the place nor the time. How I had you, you've passed your prime.
I'm sorry that you seem to be confused. I do the starting because I choose to.
Well, I hear all of that, but I still think you're whack, Howl. Girl, this education is taking you off track.
If it bothers you, please don't pay no mind. I am telling you, this education is mine. Listen, I know it's not easy, and I know every day I'm hustling, but I will do this, and I don't need you to affirm me or confirm me or nothing like this of the above. No, I'm done with you. Peace out, homie. You don't even know me. You don't struggle with him from the shit. I mean, sorry, but listen. The struggle we come from, remember? You're back.
Listen,
I'm out. No, sorry. That's it.
What is she talking about struggle?
Thank you very much. So now we have a little bit of poetry by Ikram Hussain. She's a third-year linguistics student at the Carleton University with a minor in American Sign Language. She loves archery and regularly attends the Carleton Archery Club where she is vice president internal. She loves writing and has been writing poetry since the age of 8. And she's been performing for the last 5 years. Ikram, come on up.
Well, that's always fun to go after. The voice, or I don't know what that would be. Okay. I have a couple pieces for you guys tonight. The first, I've been told is a favorite, and then a couple times people seem to enjoy it. It's kind of like my stamp that I sort of take with me everywhere. And it's a piece that I wrote earlier this year highlighting what it means to me to be a first-generation Somali-Canadian. So being Somali, being Canadian, what does that mean? Before I start, hands up if you're a Somali born in Canada. That's like all of you, pretty much. So I feel like you guys are going to get this, I hope. Otherwise, my job has not been done and I'm going to go home in shame. But don't worry about that, I'll be fine. So I wrote this piece to answer that question that we always get. You know, when people come up to me, they're like, where you're from? And I'm like, Ottawa. Like, no, where you're really from? I'm like, no, seriously, Montreal. Like, no, really, where you're from? I'm like, Montfort Hospital, second floor, I promise. So I wrote this piece, and it's called Motherland, and I hope you guys enjoy it. In the time before I was able to see the differences between people, I was told of the motherland. Vivid watercolor paintings of sunsets on oceans and beaches filled with people from end to end. It was beautiful. But despite the love for it that was sewn into my soul, I couldn't wrap my head around that word, motherland. I expected motherland would be the land in which I was born, so instead of the warm sun's loving embrace, my mind's eye was filled with the images of blizzards and ice storms and everything that made that night in 95 beautiful. And instead of the melodious tones of my beloved Somali, my ears were filled with the sounds of hello and bonjour. You see, growing up a first-generation Canadian has taught me that I'm not someone belonging to one culture or another. Because if it were the case that I was from one or the other, then psychologists wouldn't be debating on nature versus nurture. Instead, it has taught me that I am the very embodiment of every hope and dream that my parents had when they landed here. That I am the bridge that spans across oceans and connects two completely different worlds. I am the torch-bearing guide that navigates the murky waters of cross-cultural communication. My veins flow with the blood of the men and women from the land that taught them that the voice is the source of power. My limbs stretch and flex from a lifetime in rigorous training in a land that taught me that the pen is mightier than the sword. And like the seamless intermingling of my flesh and blood, I have learned that I am not. And like the seamless intermingling of my flesh and blood, it is not one skill or another that makes me successful. And as the night follows the day, or one foot goes before the other, I must understand that it is not one foot or another that helps me stand, but both. In the same way that I am a symbol of seamless bilateral symmetry, it is impossible to separate the different sides of me. And that is why I will always remember who I am and where my place is. For so long as my western arm extends to the coast of the Pacific, and my eastern arm extends to the Indian Ocean, I know that the world is at my fingertips. And between the hand and the tongue is the rhythmic beating of my heart calling out to its motherland. Born from the hearts of the free into the land of opportunity, my possibilities are endless. Rocked in the arms of wisdom and fed from a fountain of history, the world is my canvas. Hammered and forged by the rapid collision of two cultures and two lands, I stand solidly, with my feet planted firmly among the maple trees and my fingertips outstretched to the stars. I am a prodigy, and I know that as long as I remember who I am, I will always have a motherland calling to me, so let the whole world know. I am a Canadian, and I am Somali. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. That went well. So the second piece that I have tonight is fairly new. I was approached and I was like, hey, education, talk about it. And I was like, oh, okay, education, let's talk about it. And I was brainstorming and I needed to come up with this idea, so the first thing I did is I went to my mom and I'm like, Hoya, education. And she looked at me and I'm like, I have to write a poem, education, what do I do? And then she just looks me in the eye and she just says, Alimira'an, wa'imra'an. Which means ignorance is blindness. And I'm just like, okay, ignorance is blindness. Let's write a poem about that. So, I went, sat down in my little room, thought about it, grabbed a pen, grabbed a paper, wrote, and came up with this short little poem called Blind, which, I'm sure you'll get the gist of it. So it's brand new. I'm going to have to read this off the paper. Forgive me for my lack of not memorizing something I wrote earlier today. Over and again, down the infinite ancestral lines, the whispers are carried. They speak of long ago. Stories of the failures and successes of long-toppled nations whose fiery crescendo stem from a single burning ember of truth, that those who fail to learn their history are doomed to repeat it. And along the banks of the merging rivers of our communal history and current state of beings are our dreams able to grow, fostered and nurtured until they gain enough strength to break through the smoke and ash and breathe in the fresh scent of new beginnings. We are the children of battle, brought up with an artillery of unsympathetic words and made to fight one another like marionettes on a string. We are blind, eyes clouded with the light-sucking thickness of ignorance and wisdom surgically extracted from our bone marrow, educated in the art of averting our gaze from those in pain and vocalizing only our insignificant struggles. And what we have forgotten, what this nest of education failed to teach us, what the blindness of ignorance has robbed from us, is the luminous truth nested in the whispers of old, that the burden of a dream is too much to be carried alone. And only when we unlearn what we have learned can the light of knowledge return, and that is when we will awaken. Because how learned am I if, with all my degrees, I couldn't tell you my friends from my enemies?